Okay. Wherever we need to go, I'd like to get some ice cream too.
Okay, I might start too. I need to get gas first thing. I'll get George ice cream.
Vitamins. Man, them birds are going nuts on that food. They were really hungry.
I still have a lot of food on the ground.
Huh?
I still had quite a bit of food on the ground. Just put one scoop on top of the board before it started snowing.
So all that food that I put out there gone? Just a little.
A bunch of food.
I like to do this trailer, it's easier. Less of a mess. Oh fuck. Thanks. To drive through the icy window. Pressure can be slick. There's a hole down there. But see, that's where that cat's living. Or in the pipe. Is that wearing your shirt for this? Yeah. Guess you shut off your motor when you're running. I leave it running when I'm cold. It'll fill it. Wait till the clicker clicks. Keep an eye on it. It's probably about 20 out here. Cold, snowing. Supposed to get an inch. That's what they said. Less than an inch. I heard 4 to 10. Randy heard less than an inch. I wonder if they're pulling up there because they work there, or they're pulling up there because they're parking. Remember I was in Portecidas, I was 5 years old. I was swimming in the swimming pool, and these people were laughing at me. Yeah, your parents probably didn't even tell you, did you? Did they? I got up and left. Mom gave me a dirty look. She came and got me out of the pool. Those guys weren't being very nice to you. I said, Mom, I don't care. I'll swim. Story I'll always remember. I didn't know that was any different back then. What's wrong?
Print out a receipt.
Want to print out a receipt?
Fucking. Please wait, please wait, please wait. So I waited. Usually it says receipt printing, and then it just said transaction complete. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Anybody that could hack stuff could add money to it. If they're really smart, they don't get caught. I think they'd be more interested in an ATM machine. He went up. The driver went up there, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just less than 2 feet. I tried to figure out what the hell he was doing. So I think he was trying to line up to something.
Oh, that semi?
Uh-huh.
I saw that. You don't want winter to come. There's another guy that comes to North Star almost every day. He's always wearing shorts too.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. my manager's at that Grand Junction bowling alley. It's neat.
One day when I was driving a school bus, I wore shorts for year round.
I forget everybody's name now. It's only been, what was it, 6 years since Grand Junction, or 7? Hasn't been that long ago.
I don't know, I left Grand Junction in 2015.
Been over here 5. Grand Junction was the last place, or Fruita was the last place we were here about 6 months. About the time I made friends with the lady, she didn't want me to leave. Well, gotta go. Moving on in life. Do you need help?
No, I got it, buddy.
Is that a squirrel frozen in the tree? That's a branch.
What'd you say?
Forgot. I asked if you needed help.
No, I wanted to add a quarter while I had them.
If I was to buy a place like this, I'd probably give them an extra $20 an hour. Or at least 10.
Give them what?
But if I was to buy a place like that, I'd probably give them another $20 an hour.
Workers.
Huh?
They make $20 an hour.
What?
I said they make $20 an hour.
Oh, they do make $20 an hour? Okay, so they're making money.
Minimum wage in this town is like $16.
Yeah, it's still not
Oh,
enough.
I'm sorry, I guess it's 14.
I'd probably give them a $5 raise.
At the auto store, that starts out at like 19.
All the world, right?
So we need some more cat food, right?
Huh?
So we need some more junk food, right? For the cats.
Not really, but yeah, if you want to, but want some watermelon and some cantaloupes.
Some what?
Some more watermelon. Some more ice cream.
Ice cream's cheaper at my store.
Are we going to your store?
Oh yeah. I thought we needed cat food. I don't want to buy that at my store because it's going to be $10 cheaper here. But if we don't need it, then we'll just go to my store.
Alright, well. Find some place to put it.
So I can't do it here. I can just smell it.
That bag is still 3/4 full. So we don't need it for a little while.
Wanted to get some soda too because it's buy two get three free.
Well, why not conditions? keep up with this one.
This
Right.
is nothing. This isn't even really a storm.
Huh?
So this is nothing. This isn't even really a storm.
Not even really a storm.
Yeah. Maybe I've lived in Colorado too long. To me, this is just
Where's that
a
money?
little bit of snow. So probably because I've lived in Colorado all my life.
Okay, what about Arizona and Texas?
Okay, I lived there for like a couple of months at a time. Arizona is probably the longest I lived, for 6 months. Not even, actually, it wasn't even that.
Yeah, you
I
still
moved
say
in February, and at the end of February, it left it.
you still say you lived in Colorado all your life. It makes sense.
Because technically, I lived at Lake Powell for 4 months too, when I first got married.
Thanks for filling it. Not that we're going anywhere anyway.
Some sort of oil on the manifold, though, you can smell it.
Huh?
So they dumped a little oil on the manifold. I can smell it.
This is not bad.
Smells like running oil.
Got the center lane goes through. I was like, wait a second, you're gonna turn.
Yeah, I think I freaked people out behind me too. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that lane goes through, so when they go to turn at that last corner, they fucking block the road. Well, I hope you fucking did what you were supposed to last night.
What?
I said, I hope the guy that worked. It's supposed to have somebody work the freezer last night. Because I didn't fill up the fucking pies and whipped cream. I mean, I did a little bit, but not very much. Oh, right now, first, if I'm not working, I'll take it.
Do you ever go in a day like today when you're not working and go and see what they did to your store section of the store? Huh?
Oh, yes. I mean,
the
they didn't have
damn
much
stupid
backstock,
time.
but there's still a lot of shit to get done.
Ice cream, more fish.
Soda.
Huh?
I don't want no fish.
You don't want any more fish?
I know. You can buy it if you want.
Yeah, I do. It's good. It's good for you. that's what I thought. These are actually pretty good. On top. So I'll just put on the floor by Oh, we forgot fish. That's all right. You got plenty of munchies.
They were calling yesterday for a car roundup. And they asked me, I was like, no, I'm busy. So I took 3 carts up to me.
Well, I'm glad we didn't try to put a smaller cart around. We never got to the groceries. We only spent $212. That's me looking at $350 at one point. Did you pick up your lotion?
Just
Yeah, your tube and stuff.
yeah, I do too.
At the, oh, at the house.
I'm gonna make sure that you got it, because I didn't see that you did.
No, I just put it up there back on the shelf.
Yeah, it's only been an hour and 10 minutes. Hour, 1 minute, 30 seconds. I forgot I left it on. Home, James? Huh?
Drop off food, or either I gotta go in the shed or I need to run to the porch.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna run into the shed.
Okay. I like going to the park a bit. You're not the only one that picks up 5, 6, 7, 8 things of soda.
Everybody has been.
Well, everybody's doing it.
Fucking, what's her face? Nanette got 10.
Wow. I guess I'll have a Pepsi or two every once in a while.
I just noticed the sale yesterday and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get a cup on this one.
This place is so much cheaper than Walmart or something.
About that.
Huh?
I don't know about that. The cat food we get at Walmart's $10 cheaper than here.
Really?
$37 for that bag of cat food you pay $26 for over there.
Wow.
And that was on sale.
Wow.
Normally it's $39. I was laughing
Okay.
at their toilet paper. The toilet paper, you know, but it was on sale. 50 cents off. I was like, you fucking kidding me? So instead of $34.99, it was $34.49.
No, it's still a sale.
Yeah, people eat that shit up. It's funny. Cindy was coming out the door as I was pushing carts in. I'm like, oh man, I ran into both laundry ladies today.
I didn't see Cindy.
No, she was coming out as I was pushing.
Huh?
And she was coming out the door as I was pushing the empty carts in. You wouldn't saw her unless you were looking. What'd you do with the eggs?
Good question.
I forget it was somebody else.
Put them down here on the floor.
I was just wondering if they were someplace that were gonna get knocked over.
No. Put them on the floor. I'm gonna throw them in the refrigerator first. You a smart girl. Sometimes.
I'm starting to stick with the road.
Yeah.
Glad I'm not driving the steamboat every night anymore.
But those would be better. I didn't know you'd get paid the same though. I didn't know you get paid the same though.
I actually lost out on a lot of money. But it was all in overtime. It wasn't wages.
Yeah, but we got to spend more time together.
Well, in a way it was. Because like in the wintertime up there, I was making $5 more an hour with the $3 an hour overnight differential. Because I gave $2 an hour to everybody. During the winter, during this time of year up there. And they don't have anything like that here. Plus the night differential here is only $2 an hour instead of $3. But it's still the same hours from midnight to 6. So instead of making $18, you were making $12. Actually, less than that because I take lunch in that block.
I think everything will fit because we just pulled it out of the boxes anyway. Light it up. Kitty.
That's your kitty. The driveway's getting slick here.
Is today Sunday?
Yes.
Or is it still Saturday?
Yeah, it's Sunday, baby. Yeah. Missed my game show this week. I don't think it comes on till noon though.
Huh?
Said I missed my game show this week, but I don't think it comes on till noon.
Okay, well, Sunday, you're off tomorrow, right? Okay.
That's my Monday.
Let's go. That was from CPO News. this stone turret and see the mountains in every direction. There is not much in the way of safety railings or protection of any sort. I think I'm gonna need to sit down here.
Most of the ironwork looks thin, and the castle is plastered with climate your own risk signs. The stairs and balconies are covered in steel mesh, like the top of a metal patio table, meaning you can see through them straight down to the ground below. And the metalwork at the top, also done by Bishop himself, feels rickety, even if it isn't.
Okay.
I think I'm done.
No, you made it to the top. I'm about 4 steps from the top, but that's far enough for me.
Yeah, it's good enough.
It's a massive structure, almost unbelievably so, especially given that it was built entirely by one person.
This is glorious what I'm doing here. Wake up now! Our forces all fought, died in vain.
This is Jim Bishop, the castle builder. His ecstatic anti-government rants, which can be seen in countless videos on YouTube, have long been almost as much a part of the attraction as the castle itself.
Our old government psychopaths are all psychopaths. This ain't no country.
For the past 4 decades, Bishop has spent every summer on this 2.5-acre piece of land in Colorado's wet mountains. He bought it in 1959 for $450 when he was 15 years old.
Through zoning disputes, skirmishes with the law, the specter of the IRS, health problems, and personal tragedy, Jim kept building. He dug holes, mixed mortar, and, stone by stone, created this massive castle, his own personal monument to freedom, hardworking people, and the American dream.
Me and God are a team here. I'm newsworthy. I built all of this. George Bush ain't newsworthy. George Bush didn't build no real castle with his hands. This is the only real castle at the moment.
Jim and Phoebe Bishop live in a working-class neighborhood just across the highway from the old steel mill in Pueblo. Their home is modest, but not surprisingly adorned with a hand-mortared rock wall and a custom wrought iron fence.
Their youngest daughter, Danita, a veteran of the Navy, greets us at the gate with her baby boy and introduces us to her mom, Phoebe Bishop, Jim's wife of 48 years. Their albino chihuahua, Pumpkin, who's blind and deaf, high steps around us. He uses his front feet to feel his way around the furniture as we walk into the living room. Pictures of the Bishop children in handmade iron frames line the walls. Born in Hawaii during World War II, Jim's family moved to Pueblo before his first birthday and settled in a house just 7 blocks from where he lives today.
Jim's father opened a sheet metal business, which he eventually turned into a welding shop specializing in ornamental wrought iron. Jim liked to spend time working with his dad in the shop, and his dad taught him how to weld at a young age. Though he was a smart kid, Jim wasn't much for school, and he dropped out when he was 15. The same year, he bought the piece of property in the wet mountains where he'd eventually build the castle.
Well, in 1959, there was a man named Jake Zeller, and he had 2 pieces of property for sale. And he wanted so much money for that one, which I could afford. My folks didn't have quite enough money to make the down payment, so they borrowed money from me, and we made a down payment. You might ask Phoebe just what the amounts were. I can't get there.
You had $500 in the bank from mowing lawns. You were 15 years old, and the down payment was $450. The monthly payments were $30 for 2 years. 23 months later, you made the last payment of $150. In May of 1961, you owned the 2.5 acres.
After dropping out of school, Jim worked at a grocery store for a while, then eventually went into business full-time with his father at the ornamental iron shop. In the summers, the two of them would go camping on Jim's land, where they planned to build a family cabin. As a teenager and into his early 20s, Jim was an avid bodybuilder. He'd lift weights with friends in a backyard garage that an older man had converted into a gym. That was where he and Phoebe met.
The night that I walked in to that garage, it was snowing. It was September the 28th of 1966. When he asked me to marry him, which was like 2 weeks later, I said yes, thinking it'll never happen.
It did happen. A few months later, in January of 1967, they were married. They both loved to spend time in the mountains on Jim's land, and it wasn't long before they decided to get to work building a family cabin on the lot Jim bought when he was 15. In the summer of 1969, they broke ground.
It was going to be a 1-room rock cottage.
But one thing led to another. Maybe a kitchen would be nice. then a second level.
So we started the second level with arches and all of that stuff, which fell in coincidentally secure places. And then he went to start the roof. And you've seen how steep it is. Well, that's because it's a mountain. It's going to have snow. So we're going to have plenty of headroom. However, he made the walls that the roof set on over a story high. And I says, why are you doing that? He says, well, if you're going to make it high, you might as well make it high. So it's just been, it was one of those things that just fell into place.
A few years into the construction of their stone cottage, they started hearing rumors of a castle in the forest. One rainy day, they ran into some people whose car had gotten stuck in the mud on the side of the highway near their property. The bishops helped them out.
I said, what are you doing up here on a day like today? And they said, well, we come looking for this castle we keep hearing about. And I said, you know, when you find it, would you please? The only payment we want for our help is come back and tell us where it's at, because we've been hearing about it. And they walked around the bend and they said, well, this is it. This is what we're looking for.
The Bishop's stone cottage was the castle that people had been talking about.
And so after 4 years of listening to that, are you building a castle? Did you buy a castle and you're putting it up? What are you doing? And so Jim sat down around a fire one day and with his mom and dad and me, and he says, you know, the people want a castle, let's build him one.
The more Jim built, the more people stopped to admire his work.
People would come up and say, are you going to live in it? And I'd say yes. And they said, are you still going to allow the public in? And I said, of course we're going to allow the public in. But then after several years, we said, there's no way. How could you couldn't even sleep? People would be coming in and out, and they were enjoying it so much the way it was. That's when we decided we would give it to the public through a nonprofit corporation and support a charity. And so that's how that all fell into place.
Some friends and family thought they should charge admission, but Jim and Phoebe were clear from the beginning that they wanted it to be free.
Have you ever gone anywhere or thought of going somewhere and you couldn't afford to go in?
They did put out donation boxes. That brought in a little money. It helped to cover some of the materials and to make up for wages that Jim wasn't earning at the welding shop during his time at the castle. And he spent a lot of time at the castle.
Jim worked long days in the summer, trying to get as much done as he could before the fall came and it got too cold to work with the mortar.
As the castle and its towers got taller, Jim started to use a primitive block and tackle pulley system to move bags of cement and lift rocks into place. But beyond that, it was stone by stone.
And as Bishop continued his project, the family lost their 4-year-old son, Roy, in an accident near the property.
It was hard. Jimmy put the roof on the castle that year, crying enough to probably go down the gutters. But he installed the roof on Bishop Castle that year. And that's what he'd say. He says, I've got to get this roof on here to catch my tears.
Did you find it hard to keep working on it after that, or you felt like that was a healing thing for you?
It was real hard. No, I couldn't stop. I had to keep going.
Through the years, there were financial hardships, a fierce legal battle over the castle's ownership, a fire in the gift shop. As both of the bishop's health faded, their son Daniel took over the operations. Phoebe Bishop died in 2018, and Jim never stopped being proud of what he built.
Jim, can we ask you one more question? All right. When you drive up to the castle now and you see your work and you get out of your car and your truck, what do you think about your work?
It's still amazing that I did all that work. That's what I think about it. Still, it amazes me every time. Every time I work there, it amazes me. No matter what route I take, and there's 3 routes.
Is it everything that you had envisioned it to be, or did it become something that you couldn't have imagined?
Something more so.
Jim Bishop died in Pueblo Thursday. He was 80. Services are pending. is Colorado Matters for today. Thanks for spending time with us. I'm Ryan Warner at CPR News and KRCC.
This is CPR News, 89.5 FM, KPRN Grand Junction, 88.3 FM, KPRH Montrose, 88.4 FM, KPYR Craig, and at CPR.org.
Colorado Public Radio's programs are sustained by gifts from members, including network partners Tom and Carol Dozier, Debbie Steve, and Chris Tesman. Thank you. There's information about giving on the support page at CPR.org.
The discovery shocked her.
I was paid lower than every single male faculty member at my rank, regardless of our achievements.
A CU Boulder English professor fought for equal pay for years. A new state law helped, then a legal fight that means women on campus will receive millions in back.
Hey, you want to put that brick back on top?
Colorado Matters from CPR.
I forgot to put that brick back on the top.
Supported by Select Health.
Should be sitting right there.
Welcome to The Middle, a weekly show that elevates the voices of Americans who are so important politically but are often left out of our national conversation. Americans in the Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson, and we're going to get away from politics this hour and focus instead on science. Specifically, some of the scientific research being done in the geographic middle of our country. Joining us, Majid Kazemian at Purdue University in Indiana, who's using artificial intelligence to improve cancer treatment. Sophia Hayes at Washington University in St. Louis, who's using her expertise in helium to tackle carbon capture and climate change. And Joanne Schatz at Utah State University, who's trying to figure out what leads to Alzheimer's disease. Stay right there. A special edition of The Middle starts right after the news.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Nora Rahm. President Biden has approved Ukraine's use of U.S.-supplied long-range missiles in Russia after North Korea sent troops there. These rising tensions come during a delicate transition between Biden and President-elect Trump. NPR's Luke Garrett reports.
Incoming National Security Advisor, Representative Mike Waltz, gave a warning on Fox News this Sunday.
For our adversaries out there that think this is a time of opportunity, that they can play one administration off the other, they're wrong.
Waltz stressed the cooperation between himself and current National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Despite this, Waltz says he will bring about significant change to American policy under a second Trump presidency.
I'm going to conform the system to the best I can, to his style, to his decisions, and to his mandate.
And topping his national security list is 1, securing the U.S. border, and 2, quote, imposing costs on Hamas for holding American hostages. Luke Garrett, NPR News, Washington.
With yesterday's announcement that Trump has picked longtime aide Brooke Rollins as his Secretary of Agriculture, Trump has now completed his cabinet choices. All must be confirmed by the Senate, which will take up the nominations next year. The United Nations Climate Change Conference ended early this morning in Baku, Azerbaijan. After weeks of negotiations, the world's wealthier nations agreed to triple their previous pledges to help developing nations deal with the effects of climate change. NPR's Jeff Brady has more.
Wealthy countries, which are responsible for putting most of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere now, they agreed to compensate developing nations $300 billion a year. Developing nations contributed far less to climate change, but are suffering a lot of the consequences. And this money, it won't go out right away. Negotiators agreed to reach that level by 2035. But these developing countries say climate change will cost them much more than that.
NPR's Jeff Brady. Israeli authorities say an Israeli Moldovan rabbi has been killed in the United Arab Emirates. Israel calls it an anti-Semitic act of terrorism. NPR's Daniel Estrin reports.
Rabbi Tzvi Kogan, a dual Israeli-Moldovan national, went missing Thursday in Abu Dhabi. Now Israeli authorities say Emirati security officials have located his body. Rabbi Kogan was stationed in Abu Dhabi with the Chabad organization, an Orthodox Jewish outreach group with chapters around the world. The group expanded its presence in the UAE since the country established diplomatic ties with Israel. Israeli security authorities have reissued a travel advisory urging Israelis to avoid non-essential travel to the UAE. Israeli media are widely reporting the suspects are Uzbek nationals suspected of being dispatched by Iran. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
And you're listening to NPR News in Washington. The polls are open in Romania in the first round of a presidential election. Polls suggest the leftist prime minister is likely to advance to the runoff election in 2 weeks, as well as a hard right candidate. The major issues are the economy and support for neighboring Ukraine as it fights Russia. Uruguay is holding a presidential runoff election today. Most polls show a virtual tie between the two remaining candidates, one from the conservative governing party and the other from a left-leaning coalition. The major issues include violent crime, inequality, and the high cost of living. The Orlando Pride won the team's first championship in the National Women's Soccer League with a 1-0 win over the Washington Spirit. The match took place on a neutral site in Kansas City. Greg Eklund reports from Kansas City.
Orlando forward Barbara Banda, who grew up in Zambia and played her first season in the NWSL, saved her best for last. In the playoffs, she scored 2 goals in the Pride's quarterfinal, a goal in the semis, and the only goal of the title match in the 37th minute.
I always want to take on the defenders, so I saw that opportunity and I had to put the ball at the back of the net.
For the top-seeded Pride, who lost only 2 matches all year, it was their first appearance in the championship match. It was also the first title for Marta Vieira da Silva, their 38-year-old Brazilian superstar, known to many fans simply as Marta. For NPR News, I'm Greg Eklund in Kansas City.
And I'm Nora Rahm, NPR News in Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, recognizing extraordinarily creative individuals with a track record of excellence. More information on this year's MacArthur Fellows is at macfound.org.
Welcome to a special edition of The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson, and we're going to get away from Washington politics this hour and zoom in on some of the scientific research that's happening in the geographic middle of our country. Research that is funded in part by all of us taxpayers, and that's being done to tackle problems that affect all of us. Problems like cancer, which after heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. Now, treatment for cancer is getting a lot better and more personalized, and Majid Kazemian, an associate professor of biochemistry at Purdue University in Indiana, is trying to take all the data and use it to improve cancer treatment even more. He joins us now. Majid, welcome to The Middle.
Thank you for having me.
So when you look at the numbers, each year in the United States, there are around 2 million new cancer diagnoses, around 600,000 cancer deaths. There are obviously thousands and thousands of cancer researchers, not just across this country, but around the world. Tell us about the piece of the pie that you're looking into with your research.
So our main question was always that how come certain patients have exactly the same cancer type, the same stage of cancer, about the same age of patients? Some of them end up having a very good outcome, and some of them unfortunately have a very poor outcome of the same cancer. And we turned to our computational tools and asked, can we identify the differences in these two cases? And hopefully if we could identify those differences, we could potentially have therapeutics
Plus all the
that
tears, all the
enable to push those poor survivors
other stuff
toward
that
a
I bought.
better
I guess we
response
got a
and
little room
better
out here if you need
surviving ability.
Guess we
So
do
what
have
are
a
the
little bit of
differences
room
that
out
you're
here now.
looking at? Are these genetic differences? Are they situational,
I've been wanting to get that ice off the
environmental
bottom of that for a
differences?
while.
Those are mostly genetic differences and mostly something we call
The last block
biological
I pulled up was like that,
pathways
and that's after I had been chipping away at it.
differentiating these tumor types or tumors that are well responding or tumors that do not respond or tumors that are
You have to be really careful because you don't want to put any holes in
or tumors that are
it's
easier
just
to fight off.
real thin
And these
aluminum.
biological pathways, you can think about them as a well-organized factory assembly where the genes are the compartments of this assembly line, providing the raw materials or pushing things towards the final product. And our cells have thousands of these factory lines or thousands of these biological pathways. And any of them that are dysregulated could cause some cells to grow a little bit more, making it more cancerous, or sometimes some cells to grow a little bit less, therefore to be a little bit providing a better response. So then we asked whether or not computer tools could identify these factories or biological pathways that are different between patients that have a poor survival versus those that have a better survival.
So basically, in order to help people eventually with their cancer diagnosis and their cancer treatment, you're taking all of this data in and being able